so this is Joe Palen.
Hello.
Stand-up comedian and actor.
Hey.
And writer.
And whatever else I happen to be in the mood to do today.
Whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And we're at Guahomie Park in Oceanside. And this is my second episode. And this is a friend of Dean LaCrone's, who I met through Dean, basically. And I went to Joe's stand-up, was it like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And recorded it for him.
Thank you again.
For all posterity. And so I thought, hey, perfect. We'll go to the park. And he said, great, let's do it in what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Let's get right on it.
Because it was football. I had my priorities.
Oh, that's
there was
right.
like the playoffs. And
I understand.
Today is the week between the last playoff game and the Super Bowl. So,
Oh,
yeah.
right. So next Sunday you would not be available?
No.
Probably?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about now first, I guess.
Yeah.
And tell me what's your next big show. Do you have something coming up? Or?
The only thing I got is penciled in is I might be doing the Comedy Store next month because I'm turning 60 next month. And that was the motivation for it, because initially I had approached, I talked to my daughter. My daughter had mentioned a couple of stand-up friends of mine who were headliners. And she asked, oh, have you ever worked with them? Maybe you should contact them, and maybe you could like go on the road with them or something. I'm going, well, it's usually not how it works. But then she got the wheels rolling, and I thought, you know what? I am turning 60 next month. Let me make something happen.
Yeah.
And since I used to, in fact, Dean and I met at the Comedy Store. You knew that, but I'm telling for your benefit.
Sure. Tell me as if I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So Dean and I met at the Comedy Store back in the 1980s. You know, 86 through 91.
Is that where Jeff Thill, is that where he met?
Yeah,
him
and in fact, yeah. So I guess Dean and Jeff might have known each other from back then, but I'd left by then. I had left by 91, so I didn't know Jeff from back then. Jeff was there in the 90s. And I'd gone by 91.
Yeah. I have
so
all
that's
my
the Comedy
guests,
Store. The Comedy Store in La Jolla. Even though we'd go up to Hollywood sometimes, but we were.
I have all my guests jump into this cactus right here. I just wanted to let you know if that's okay.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna fall for that? Did Dean fall for that?
No.
It's nice. I know. I like how the cactus is giving me some decorating tips. I should probably have some cactus in my backyard, because I bought a house in Temecula last year, and that's it definitely gets into cactus weather in the summertime.
Cactus weather. Haven't heard that before. Cactus weather.
I haven't either.
We'll get back to you in cactus weather.
That had become part of my act after I bought the house in Temecula. I thought, because a lot of my act comes from truth, and then there'll be a little twist at the end.
Okay.
I mean, some comics do it that way. Some comics just totally based on fiction. But so the truth is, I bought a house in Temecula, and it's cheaper than just like 30 miles south in San Diego, right? And I wanted to try and buy a house around here because I was living in San Marcos at the time. I had an apartment. So I bought a house in Temecula because apparently property is cheaper on the surface of the sun. So it's like, that's
not
basically
a big line for that property. Huh?
My act in a nutshell is start with the truth and then twist it a little bit.
Yeah. So I saw where you kept a few things from your earlier set that you'd done like, what, 20 years before?
Oh yeah,
50 years before. But
that's right, because you saw
updated it, yeah,
you saw that set from the Ice House. Yeah, very little. I did when I first started, because I've been going in and out. So going back to the Comedy Store 30 plus years ago, I've got a couple of friends who've still been doing it steadily since then. I could mention Lamont Ferguson. So have you met Lamont?
No.
Lamont Ferguson, Karen Montowski, those are the two that pop into mind. And Karen had a David Letterman spot just like the last year David Letterman was doing his show. So, these are friends of mine who we started together. We were waiting tables and working the door, which is what you do at the Comedy Store. It's basically their the system there is.
Do you have to hand the flyers out and?
No, not that. There's a lot of clubs now that do that, where you have to be barking on the sidewalk, and I'm not really into that now. I'm kind of.
Or you have to get so many people in.
Yeah,
before you
shows.
can get up there.
Bringer shows. So bringers and barking. That's become more of a thing in the last, since I left. I keep leaving and coming back. But no, back in the Comedy Store system was, if you work the door you know, and do the grunt work and taking out the trash and stuff like that, then you're going to get consistent stage time.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of paying your dues.
Right.
And that's both in La Jolla and Hollywood. So there's some guys, you know, you'll actually see some, like Mark Maron, you know, he's gone on to have a career over the last 30 years.
He's in the Joker movie.
He's in the Joker movie. In fact, that's really cool because when he started his podcast 10 years ago, it was out of desperation.
Was
I don't
in
know
his
if you know the story
garage,
about that.
wasn't
Yeah. And it's because he'd had a career for a lot of years, but he was frustrated, things weren't happening, acting deals kept falling through.
Right.
He had a stand-up career, but
it wasn't enough, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of stagnant. So he started that thing out of desperation in his garage, and now it's segued to now he's had not only this, you know, very good podcast that's paying his, you know, making his living for him, but like you mentioned, the Joker movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen Glow?
No. Oh, the TV series.
Yeah.
With the rat. Oh, yeah, he stars in that. Yeah,
he's one of the.
Yeah, he's like the coach or whatever.
This was all kinds of stuff that
That's right.
he wasn't planning on that kind of stuff happening. That just happened as a part of the snowball effect
of knowing people, I guess, after a while, right?
Yeah, and the podcast is popular. He ends up interviewing people. Yeah. So I just love when I hear those stories that it's the.
That's how I'm going to get my start, because I know you.
There you go. Those unintended consequences.
Right.
But I love those stories whenever I think like I'm going to make a plan or whatever. I've been thinking a lot more these days, not so much about making a plan, because your plans seldom really happen the way you plan them.
Yeah.
But the main thing is just to keep doing something.
Oh, yeah. You're keeping your options out there.
Yeah.
You know, just by being involved in different projects, you're meeting other people.
Right.
So you got to just stay out there.
Just by getting out of the house.
Yeah.
Or even these days, like my son, you don't even have to get out of the house. My son is an artist, and artist is in drawing, and he also writes and stuff. But, you know, you can also have a career just, you know, being on the computer as well.
Oh, sure.
But that's still putting yourself out there. You have to put yourself out.
Put your work out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not so much have a plan. That's like here's the paradox or whatever, is the plan is to not have a plan. It's just to keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because I quit for a lot of years.
Right. Just stay busy.
Yeah. There were a lot of years where I thought, like stand-up, when I quit in '91, because I'd quit my day job for 3 years. I'm a software engineer by day, still right now. That's what pays the living.
Before you're rudely interrupted. Was that when I was in college, I was kind of friends with different cliques, you know, and if I didn't care, I don't think I cared what other people thought, you know. Where some kids, it seems like you're in high school and all, it's like you want to kill yourself if you're not accepted or whatever, and I was like, I don't care.
Oh, good. Well, you got that earlier. It took me a lot.
I was like,
it took me a lot of years, man. I just, you know, to the point now you realize, well, yeah, there's one of those adages. I can't remember the exact adage, but it basically ends with, once you get to a certain age, you realize they weren't thinking about you at all.
Right. Yeah. You go to the high school reunion, they're like, and who are you again?
Yeah.
And you're like, I was worried all those years.
Or even like I think about with the San Diego comedy scene, and how I would still to this day be, I shouldn't say to this day, because I'm better about it now, but go that way. A few years ago, you know, hanging out at the scene and like going back into stand-up again after all these years off, and I was becoming self-conscious off stage again. I was like, what am I doing?
Oh, really?
I reverted back to this, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I'm, you know.
Well, I think a lot of people have this voice in their head that's telling them, you'll never work. Whatever you're trying to do, draw something or whatever, paint or whatever, it's like, as soon as you even think, oh, I'm going to do this project, in the back of their head, everybody, I think it's going, it'll never work, you'll fail horribly.
Yeah.
And then they just go, okay, you're right, you know. Most people.
I know, and then unfortunately, yeah, we've been programmed, whether it's the combination of, I know some of it came from my dad. I don't want to do that whole thing where like psychotherapy where I'm blaming everything on my dad or my mom or whatever, but I know a lot of that, you know, source of that. I know very specific times when I was never good enough for, you know, my dad. He was always pushing me like that. So I have to say, but whatever the source is, whoever planted the seed, whether it's my dad or television or a teacher or whatever, it's like now it's like it's up to me to decide which thought I'm going to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Meditation has been helping a lot. I don't know if that's a substitute for alcohol, but and I'm trying not to talk about it too much because it's become so trendy. But meditation has been around for thousands of years,
and it's working.
And I have done it off and on for a few years. I've been more steady the last 2 years. Last year, I think I only missed 5 days of meditating, and I only do like 10-minute sessions, but that's all it takes. What Alan was just saying is the thing about how our past is just a story in our heads. And you know, when I think about that too, is like some people will even get defensive about that and go, no, but I really did have an abusive childhood. I go, I'm not diminishing that. Yes, I'm sure there's some pain there. I'm sure that something happened. However, like you said,
those people are gone.
Those people are gone.
Or they don't care.
Or they don't care. Your brothers and sisters.
Or they have a different story.
Yeah, your brothers and sisters who were in the room at the time have a different story. So you're punishing yourself.
Yeah.
That kind of self-awareness.
Yourself,
and that kind of self-awareness is what meditation has really helped me with, because it's separating. It's it's separating the thought.
You're pulling that away. Yeah, that past.
Yeah,
that's holding you back.
Whether it's the past or the future, because sometimes you go, "Oh, my future sucks.
Worrying about.
I'm gonna worry. I'm never gonna amount to anything.
True.
I can't accomplish my goals. All that stuff." Or the past is like, "Yeah, the person in high school really fucked me over, or my dad was an asshole, or whatever."
Somebody's fault.
Yeah, whether it's the past or the future, anything that's not happening right now, it's all a story. And you can just go, oh yeah, I'm going to look at it as a story, like you just said, and I'm hovering over that story as opposed to being the story.
There you go.
That was the big, and I've heard that over the years, but somehow for whatever reason it clicked in the last couple of years.
My wife would constantly have things come up, like Christmas. That was like her favorite time of the year, and she collected Santas and all this stuff, anything with Santa on it. Anyway, her mother passed away close to Christmas when she was. Her mother was only 40-something, so pretty young.
No, sad.
And so she had to deal with that. She was probably 20-something, when it happened.
Yeah.
And she's been dealing with it every Christmas. She'd be happy and sad at the same time, And that's when I'm trying to tell her, but that was, I know it happened. It was sad, but that was a long time ago.
Right.
And it's just only you're thinking this, and it's making you sad or whatever. But everyone else is moving on. They're moving on with it. They know. She had brothers and sisters. They moved on. You have to at some point, because that's what they would want you to do. Like her mother would want her to stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to ruin the rest of your life, and also because you could also. But
So
the thing about intellectually, she might even intellectually know that I know it's just arbitrary that it happened at Christmas. It could have been any day of the year. And also even Christmas is arbitrary because we just mark these times as if we're going in a circle, right? We're going in a circle around the sun, but we're not really. We're actually spiraling through space. And if you really look at the pattern, this is really geeky, but seriously, we're going around the sun, right? But the sun is also moving.
Right.
Through the universe, through the galaxy. It's got its own pattern. So we're really kind of like just spiraling through space. And so this marking off of the years is really arbitrary.